At last, we've come to the end of this 5-part critique for Second Son. It took me just as many years to dredge up the will to finish it, but a lot of you left incredibly kind comments in the gameplay video, and that gave me the strength to push on and tie this bow on the package. For the final part, we'll be discussing the story and narrative of the game. At first, I had written the script to cover every second of the story, but it felt unnecessary to go into every minute detail. Instead, I'll be hitting each beat that I find worth noting and skipping all the filler spots. This is meant to be a critique, not a full-on book reading, so let's go ahead and dive in. At the beginning of the game, we are introduced to Delson's home, Salmon Bay, where the inFAMOUS tribe make their home. Who are the inFAMOUS? They are Native Americans. What do? They have a fish guttery and have parties at the local longhouse. Look, the details don't matter. All I need to know is that they are Delson's family. Like Reggie, his older brother, and the local sheriff. Why did he choose to be a cop? Couldn't tell you. What happened to their parents for him to make it a point in their argument that they would shun Delson's actions of tagging billboards? No clue. Are they dead? Did a conduit kill him? Seems like it'd be a pretty easy motivation for Reggie to be a cop. Wouldn't be hard to implement it into the narrative at any point, but apparently we're not allowed to emphasize with our main characters outside of their base traits. Their attempt at characterization is interrupted by the vehicle for the plot, a literal jailbreak started by Hank to free himself and our soon-to-be supporting cast from military transport. The two give chase, Delson gets his powers by touching Hank's hand, and the brothers have a rare brotherly moment that lasts all about 10 seconds. Delson flounders inside the fish guttery using his powers and tries to subdue Hank while getting more of his powers and seeing his memories in the process. Hank gets cornered by the DUP, who come out of nowhere faster than the cops can apparate in a GTA game, and Delson immediately gets interrogated under the assumption that Hank had outed sensitive information. Regardless if you admit you're a conduit or not, Augustine continues to solidify herself as a completely unsympathetic villain by hospitalizing the entire tribe for no other reason than Delson needs a reason to begin his quest. And so, with nothing more than an assumption that he is a power sponge and not just simply a smoke conduit, Delson and Reggie leave for Seattle to siphon Augustine's power and cure the inFAMOUS of the concrete spikes that will kill them all if he doesn't act quickly. This portion serves as the call to action for Delson. However, we, as the witness to his story, are given barely anything to sympathize with him for. Sure, Augustine's a classic example of the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch, but we have no reason to care about anyone whose lives she's threatened for no reason. No one even tries to report her for endangering an entire town, which she is apparently in the habit of doing. The government is on the verge of shutting her militant group down due to lack of conduits roaming free and causing problems, so it feels like an investigation into her outright illegal handling of her office could end the entire plot with a phone call. Honestly, this opening 30 minutes of the game never fails to astound me of how weak a foundation the story has. If we're the first chapter to a book, would you really keep turning the pages to see what happens next? So anyway, we get a tongue-in-cheek Rosa Parks reference of conduits being ostracized compared to normals. We make it to Seattle and Delson is being just as annoying as per usual, boasting about his powers and how great he is with every sentence that comes out of his mouth, and downplaying Reggie for not having powers. At this point in the game, we're getting the major karma choices that decide how major characters will behave from here onwards, which usually come out to help those characters move past the worst day of their lives, or get back at the people who made their lives hell. For Fetch, it's either help her clean up the streets by blowing up boats the local drug dealers have been using to push their product from, or outright find and kill the drug dealers and let the city know that the conduits are not to be messed with. Fetch and Delson hit it off immediately, and by immediately I mean they have a one-night stand after the evil mission and not so subtly having love interest vibes in the good mission, so clearly as long as it has a pair on his chest, is female, is a conduit, and the same disregard for authority as he does, Delson will hook up with it. Not that there's any other choice in the game, so Delson kinda just gets stuck with the only choice he has. That's not to say I dislike Fetch as a character, I enjoyed her a lot in First Light. She was relatable and funny and I cared a lot to see her succeed. But somehow she's pushed to the side so far in this game despite being a major character that you can barely see her past the stage curtains. She shows up for her own mission, the big rescue mission, and then the end of the game. At least Nix and Quo felt like they were actually around somewhere and they were developing themselves throughout the game and building their own stories and stances towards various circumstances in the world around them. Second Son is only how are they with the DUP and how are they with the general public and their perceived bullies. Following this, we make our way to the second island, get trapped by Augustine into revealing that Delson is a power sponge. Even though if you're really good at the game, you cannot reveal your neon powers to her at all, but the game will never take this into consideration. We get rescued by one of Eugene's angels, then we set out to track him down and steal his powers. Turns out, Eugene has been freeing suspected conduits and fighting the DUP from the comfort of his hideout in an arcade. Don't see anything wrong with that. But once Delsin takes his powers and talks to him one-on-one, he makes fun of the kid and says he's never gonna get with a girl by doing it his way. Personally, I see this as Delsin bullying Eugene by beating him up when we found his hiding spot, and then proceeding to force his worldview onto him. While, yes, Eugene can turn into a giant angel and fight for himself, it's more of a backup in case he's truly in danger. Otherwise, he keeps to the shadows and sends his angels to serve him. I wouldn't call this ineffective or even a bad thing. Recon and remote work behind the scenes, feeding info to the more capable actors is a very important job in law enforcement and the military. Imagine Delsin going up to a police dispatcher and treating them with such a low opinion like he does Eugene. Eugene also plays a similar role to another beloved Sucker Punch character, Bentley, who spends the entire first game behind the comms and guiding Sly. He even has his own doubts about his abilities in the field, but Sly and Murray are always supportive of him. However, I agree that Delsin wanting Eugene to be free to live in the light amongst people would be better for him. The way he's going about it feels wrong, and that Eugene wouldn't be so ready to go along with him. Anyway, you either help Eugene save some suspected conduits, or punish some occurrents for being bullies. And Eugene chooses to touch grass either to help people or smite them. After this, we chase down Hank and get told that there is a concrete prison in the bay where Eugene and Fetch are being held. In one moment, Reggie says he doesn't want to help conduits, and then literally 10 seconds later after a scene transition, he's ready to help because conduits are people too. I really hate how they went about this. Yes, Delsin has been trying to get across to his brother that conduits are still people behind their powers, but Reggie hasn't exactly been very conducive to anything he's been saying the entire game, and has in fact been making fun of him when he's not arguing and trying to talk Delsin out of everything he does. I get it, they're brothers and total opposites in almost every way, but at least make it seem like Reggie is struggling to change his moral compass and not just a sudden change of heart, literally from the end of one scene to the beginning of the next. It's almost like the game ran out of time to get Reggie from point A to point B in his character arc before something tragic happens and you need to care about him. With Hank coming along, we infiltrate the island by just sailing up to it, no security concerns or anything. Almost like... Delsin gets caught by Augustine and Hank is revealed to be a double-crosser. Reggie hits her with a grenade launcher, holy shit! And we get started on freeing Fetch and Eugene. And then, wouldn't you know it...
What's he doing? I love you, bro.
Huh. This looks familiar.
No matter how painful. Trish!
Come on, Sucker Punch. I know you can do better than copying yourself. At least last time you made it suspenseful by making us rush against a time bomb and making a choice to save Trish or not. You made Sly 2 and Ghost of Tsushima for God's sake. I know you can do better than this. Delsin goes on a rampage and kicks the crap out of Augustine. Once we get to shore, you can either kill Hank for his role in Reggie's death, or let him go free to be with his daughter that was also being held hostage by Augustine. Turns out, Hank was just doing Augustine's bidding the entire time to get his girl back. Kinda wish they had hinted at that at all before just now to go, surprise, things aren't so black and white, are they? No, things are red and blue in this franchise. Give me some shades of gray or purple once in a while, not this binary crap. And people wonder why I don't make infamous stuff anymore. Now we go straight to the final battle, where we make the choice ahead of time to kill Augustine or expose her to the public. Surely they're going to reveal something with no build-up that doesn't make this choice so simple. Fetch and Eugene miraculously survived being completely encased in concrete and falling into the bay. No clue how, they don't even bring it up, and together the three misfits climb and infiltrate Augustine's tower. Guess what? There's a twist! Augustine isn't just some despot, she's trying to save the conduits from the evil humans by keeping them locked up in Curtin K. She's not giving anyone the freedom of choice to try and be decent human beings. Nope, she's made the choice for everyone. All because the military was going to gun her and her ward down for having powers after the beast just wiped out a city. Conduits weren't viewed too fondly back then, so why give humanity a chance to coexist with them in peace? It's almost like the person who designed the karma system in this franchise made that same rigidness all of Augustine's character design. No matter how you feel about this revelation, that had no lead up, Delsin does what you already chose to do. Either you do exactly what Augustine wanted by making conduits look like killers and general blights to society, or you prove her wrong and free all the conduits and give them more freedom of choice to live their lives than this game did. Then we do what we set out to do, which was save the inFAMOUS with Delsin's new concrete powers. Or kill them all because you've proven you are an absolute power-hungry piece of trash. What a wonderful way to justify the 8 hours I spent playing one side of this game that I will never get back. And with that, my overly long rant that has spanned 5 videos has come to an end. and honestly, it feels great to finally wrap this up and get everything off my chest. Sorry it's been so delayed, but I had just gotten really tired of talking about things I dislike. It's one thing to get your thoughts out, it's another thing entirely to be so devoted to your opinions that it starts eating you alive. When I made that first video years ago, I was not in a great headspace. I wasn't in the best mental health. I look back on that video and I see a lot of things I don't agree with now, or even things that I can't believe I wasted my energy in being so charged about. I'm happy to close this chapter in my book of creating content for YouTube. Now I can focus on making things that I do enjoy. Whether or not you'll choose to follow me on wherever my journey takes me is to be seen. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment down below. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button down below. Only 20% of all my viewers are subbed to me, and I'd really appreciate if you could help me get to my goal of 12,000 subs. And as always, thank you to my patron Silver Reneru for supporting me. If you want to watch my videos before everyone else like she does, consider supporting me as well on Patreon. If you want to watch my adventures live, you can catch me streaming on Twitch. Join us in the Discord to discuss games and compete in the Conduit arena. Thank you for watching, have a good day everyone, and I'll catch you later.